attached, but it's about being attached to someone for who they really are. So like, should parents be attached to their children? Of course they should. But why are they attached to their children? Not just because, I want them to do this and that, so for my social prestige, with, I want to be a proud parent and that. No, I'm attached to them because here is a soul that Krishna sent to me, and we're going to help each other grow towards Krishna, and in that way we have a bond. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but just to clarify that point, that it's full of affection.
So taking the example of the mother and the child, or a partner who's so enamored with their partner, a mother who overlooks the flaws of their child, who's just completely blind to them. The Dhritarashtra is completely blind, well, that's not true, but mostly blind to the flaws in his sons. He's able to see that he's doing wrong, but he's not able to control himself.
Yeah.
Right? Their accept trust doesn't quite apply in my right. So what's the other side of the
therefore parenting means discipline and love. So, like, you find there's this quadrant of parenting I was looking at the other day. So like, there's some parents who are like no discipline, no love. Then there are some parents like discipline but no love. Then there are some parents like love but no discipline, like Dhritarashtra would be that. So none of those are good. Love and discipline must both be there. Otherwise it becomes, again, sentimental.
But what is the foundation of discipline?
The foundation of discipline is to spiritual knowledge, to understand who we are, where we're going, what the purpose of life is, and then to mold, if you're a parent, to then mold your children so that you give them the love and set them on the right track so that they achieve the goal of life and achieve real happiness and success. And that requires a certain amount of discipline. So yeah, love and discipline both go. They say discipline is tough love. So it is love. Even discipline is love, but it's a different type of love. So love is not just like flowers and kisses. Yeah, it's like also like a lot of other stuff as well. So yeah.
I was looking at a point when the relationship with others start getting fulfilled, and then Krishna is out of sight, which may happen.
Yeah.
It's like so. Like how to maintain, because it does happen that people bask in that happiness, value that, and
any relationship which is devoid of a conception of Krishna, or in which Krishna is not factored into the equation, such relationships are not sustainable. They may flourish for some time, but eventually some element will come into that relationship which will make it break down because it's not founded upon an eternal principle. So you'll find people are together for years, but then something happens and then immediately they can just... Or ultimately, even if people are together for life, but then what happens? Someone will pass away, and then what? Because there's no eternal aspect in the relationship, then there's no connection. So then it stops. So ultimately, every relationship is temporary. Every relationship is bound to break down unless there is an eternal principle within the relationship. And when there is an eternal principle in the relationship, even when we're separated by space and time, the relationship still exists. Therefore, Prabhupada writes in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, the spiritual master lives forever in his instructions, and the follower lives with him. Once Prabhupada was in Mayapur and he walked past the temple where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Samadhi is, and he didn't go inside the temple. He just walked by, And then some of his god brothers began criticizing, oh, just see Bhaktivedanta Swami, he walked past Bhaktisiddhanta's samadhi and he didn't even go in and pay respects. Prabhupada looked at all of them and he said, do you think for a moment I'm even separated from my guru? I'm with my guru all the time. Why I need to go there? I'm with him now. That's spiritual relationship. So, yeah, unless there's that eternal principle, there's no question of live happily ever after. That only happens in fairy tales. But we live happily ever after together for eternity when we're based on the spiritual principle. So yeah, we must always factor Krishna into every relationship somehow or other. And that we should actually solidify the relationship more. Please. Oh, you haven't.
No, I need others may have a chance, probably. What about the situation where there's love at first sight between the girl and the boy? There is no investing, there is no trusting, there is no forgiving.
Discussion wasn't expected from you.
No, they talk about this love at first sight. Nothing to swear.
Theoretical.
Was that you, Chandra?
Okay, we'll ask Radhakanta with the root.
Our Gaur Gopal Prabhu says, love at first sight and divorce at first fight.
Very good, thank you.
But in one sense, even if there is some attraction that brings people together, that doesn't make the relationship deep. But, even that can be used. But then what do they again do after that? That's the important thing. So it's not really love at first sight, but it's attraction at first sight. And we can accept there's attraction at first sight, maybe.
Yes.
There's no love at first sight, because love doesn't come from some vision. Love comes from commitment.
Yeah.
So it could be attraction at first sight and love down the line if they manage to commit to each other.
Or previous life, I mean, they may be husband and wife, so much in love, and one of the two left prematurely the world, and there's unfinished relationship of love, and the person left behind, the burning desire is that person wants to continue in the next life. At the time of death, you were thinking like that. I must reunite again with that person I've lost now in this life. And possibly with your desires like that in your last stages of your life, when you're leaving this world, maybe Krishna says, yeah,
Possible.
I'll put you together.
It's possible.
And that love then continues. I don't know if that's plausible.
But they could have known each other in the last life, be attracted in this life, but then in this life, if again they don't act congenially towards each other, then again it could blow up. So it just depends. It's all about how we function and how we interact and serve each other.
That brings your four principles in action again.
Rima, please share some thoughts.
So whatever happens to us, whatever happens to us is something to do with us. A lot of times we kind of live in denial. We think, well, whatever's happening to me, it's nothing to do with me, but it's everyone else's fault or it's somebody else's fault. But actually, if you really have been through many situations and you think deeply and then you read the philosophy, and then you actually understand that whatever is happening to me, whatever is happening to us, is something to do with us. Because nothing comes to you that's not meant to come. So it's not really what happens to you, but how you react to it. So
Blame yourself, yeah? Blame yourself, don't blame others.
well, just like the example, the postman delivers a speeding fine. So you can either punch the postman, or you can think, well, actually, let me think, oh yeah, look at the date, or on that day I was driving, I went fast. So then I was the remote cause that actually is bringing about this action. It's a reaction to some action that I perform. Whether we can remember it or not, that's there or not. But whatever happens to us is something to do with us. It's not if it's not something to do with us, then it won't happen with us. The laws of karma, laws of nature, are very intricate.
Yeah.
So sometimes they say, "Well, judge not, lest ye be judged."
Yes.
That's Mother Teresa would like. That's kind of Christian teaching, because we're very quick, very fast at judging others. That's a very interesting statement. That, judge not, lest ye be judged. Because we have this kind of it's like a blind spot, So we can work out what everybody else should be doing. Now this person, he should be doing this, and that person, yeah, they need to do that, and this one, they should be doing this. But we have a blind spot. We can't see what we need to be doing. That's why we need to have very good friends who actually are Krishna conscious, who are honest, and that we can trust, and they have our welfare at heart, so they can actually tell us
Feedback,
some home truths, without blowing our false ego, that so they can help us to see what, where blind spots are. Because blind spot is like I don't know what I need to do, but I can say what everybody else needs to do. We're all good at that. So and what's that? So yeah, judge not, lest ye be judged, and